so how many of you this time of year have tons of herbs? I have basil just going crazy. So I've picked a bunch of basil. I have a couple of different kinds in this one raised bed. I've picked one of them, I've completely harvested it. I am going to harvest the rest of it maybe tomorrow or in a few days because I want to get this bed prepped to put something different in it. So we're gonna take all this basil that I've harvested and we're going to do some things with it. Alright, so welcome to Harvest Moon Farm. My name is Mickey if you're new, and today we are going to deal with all of this basil that I picked, as well as some of this, not cucumbers, as well as some of these zucchini. I have a mountain of zucchini on my counter. Some of them are small and tender. They're perfect for just cooking as they are, and they'll make a delicious side dish for any meal. But some of them, you know how zucchini are, they hide from you, and so some of them are gigantic. So I'm trying to come up with ways to deal with those so that they don't go bad on my counter. You know, after all the work of growing them. The zucchini is actually one of the things that is, of course, doing very well in my garden, so I don't want to lose any of it. So we're going to work on some of that today and get it taken care of. But we're going to go ahead and start with the basil. I was just talking away and I looked up and my camera battery was dead, so I don't know how much of that you guys got, so I'm going to repeat some of it. So my dad lives about an hour and 10 minutes from us. When we first started looking, when we were moving from our last property, we were looking kind of in his area. I wanted to be close to him because it's just him. And so we couldn't find anything. We moved out here south and he was pretty sad. He's pretty lonely by himself. And so we've been trying to get him to move in with us, but he doesn't really want to give up his own independence, and I totally understand that. But the other day, he told me that he is going to sell his house. He's looking for a property down here by us. So one of my sisters right now lives reasonably close to him. Another lives kind of close. And then the other sister lives about 40 minutes away. So she's not really close, you know, in terms of distance. So I was pretty excited about that. And he's very excited. When I was there talking to him yesterday, he was pretty giddy about it. So I'm glad because he's got somebody who wants to buy his house. They want to buy like a lot of the farm equipment that he has, his tractors, his backhoe, all of that stuff. They said anything you don't want, we will just buy from you, just leave it. So that was even better. He doesn't have to worry about either selling stuff or figuring out what he wants to do with it. So we have been looking for properties for him. So there are a couple houses that he wants to look at not too far from us. And he doesn't really care about land. You know, he can do a little raised bed garden if he wants, put a few things in, or he can come over here and garden it. Whatever he wants to do. So I am super excited. I hope we can find him something before the holidays and get him moved before cold weather. I know that might be a little bit of a rush. It's beginning of August as I am filming this video. But, I mean, if he finds the right thing, it will work out since he doesn't have to deal with any sort of real estate issues with his current property since he's already got a buyer. It's just a matter of finding something here and when he can get into it. So that was pretty exciting news to me. I don't know how my sisters will feel since now he'll be farther away from the rest of them. This is like a never-ending pile of basil here. And I still have all that other basil that's still in the garden bed. And We are going to a retirement party for my husband's uncle this afternoon, so, and of course it's an hour drive from where we are now, so that cuts a big chunk out of my afternoon in terms of what I can get done. So I'll just keep working through, and I'll get done today whatever I get done, and if I don't get the zucchini bread done today, I guess I'll do it tomorrow, but I've got to get that stuff planted today. So my husband said he would help me, so we can do that when we get home later this afternoon, early evening, whatever time it is. So I don't know how you guys are about, well, I guess it depends on where you live. So I live south of Kansas City, about an hour, and we have a full 4 seasons here. Well, typically. Sometimes they seem to all blend together, but as much as I love summer, by this time of year, I'm also excited for fall, excited for those fall recipes, a little bit cooler temperatures, the smells, the leaves, the colors. Oh, I love it all. Winter, however, the only thing worth going through winter in my mind is Christmas, or well, all the holidays. I have always said that we can do all the holidays, it can be cold if it has to be, but then on January 2nd it should be spring and I should be able to start my garden. Mother Nature does not agree with me, at least here where I live, so it never works out, obviously, but that would be my ideal. I could totally skip a real winter every year. It could snow on Christmas, just enough to be pretty, and then melt the next day before it has a chance to get dirty and ugly. And then I'm done. So, summer is definitely not over yet. We've still got lots of heat coming our way and lots more gardening, but we're on the downhill side now, and I am starting to really look forward to fall. If I'm not still pulling basil leaves off of these stems when fall hits. Whew. All right, finally got all of this. I've got all the leaves pulled off, and I'm going to run it through the colander and give it a good wash. All right, so I looked it up. It said yes, our chickens can have the basil, so I'm going to split that between the 2 coops so that they can each get some of that. And we are going to start our pesto. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and double this recipe since I have so much. So it calls for, each recipe calls for 2 cups packed. So I'm going to pack these in. There's 1. 2. I'm throwing leaves all over the place. Alright, so I still have a ton left, so I'm going to move this out of the way. Alright, there we've got our leaves. We also need 1.5 cups of shredded Parmesan cheese. So I had some shredded Parmesan in my freezer, so we need 1.5 cups of the cheese. Gosh, I hope I can do a double batch in this. All right. There's our cheese. A cup of olive oil and a cup of either pine nuts or walnuts. I'm going to use walnuts because that's what I've got. cup of walnuts. Now, traditionally this is made with pine nuts, but what I have is walnuts, so that's what I'm going to use. We need 2 large garlic cloves, so I'm going to use one of my little garlic pucks here. And a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. Oh my goodness. Oh, a 1/2 cup of lemon juice. I forgot I was doubling. All right, I'm gonna put this in there so that it kind of starts thawing. It'll thaw pretty quickly, but all right. Now let's see if we can process this. We're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. And a teaspoon of salt. And then once we get it all blended up, we'll give it a taste and see if we need to adjust anything. All right, it feels pretty smooth, so we're going to get a spoon and we're going to give this a little taste test. Ooh. I think it needs a little more salt. I don't want to do too much. And maybe just a hair more pepper. All right, clean spoon. Yes, I think that's what it needed. Do you want to taste this?
Sure. What's it supposed to be?
It's pesto. You can use it on pizza, bread.
I think it's just good. Just right.
It's good, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Put a crack
we're good. Okay, so there's our pesto. Now, the thing is I need to figure out how I'm going to preserve all this. So let me see. Okay, so I have this silicone mold. I'm going to spoon this out into this mold. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop this out into our molds here. And then we'll freeze it. And then once these are frozen solid, I'll pop them out and put them in. Uh-oh, caught on my blade. We'll pop them out and put them in a baggie and put them in the freezer. And then, if I want to use pesto for something, I can just, depending on what's going on, I can pop 1 or 2 of these out, let it thaw, and then we can use it. Do want these to be completely full though. So I might go ahead and make 1 more batch since I've got plenty of basil, so that I have enough to fill up my little pockets here. All right. Oh my goodness, that was delicious. Okay, so 2 cups of leaves. Pesto on the floor. All right, let's go ahead and finish filling our little pockets. All right, so let's see what we can get in this last little mold here. It's not going to be a full one, but that's okay. Okay, so we're going to put this on a tray. I maybe should have done that first. Oh yeah. Let's see. Oh shoot, how do I do this? Alright, there we go. Alright, so I'm going to take this tray, I'm going to put it in my freezer downstairs until these are frozen solid. I'll go ahead and take my cheese back downstairs too. Alright, so while I was downstairs, I went ahead and started my freeze dryer. And not sure what I did, but in the process of getting it started and walking away, I knocked over the bucket of drain water, and so then I had a mess downstairs. So now I've got wet rug, so I've got some towels down there to dry up my mess. All right, so I decided that before I made a huge mess, I was just going to go ahead and freeze dry what's left here, since I still have that, at least this size of a batch out in the garden bed, maybe more, I'm not sure. So we'll go ahead and freeze dry this. This won't take long. So it's got to go for 15 minutes before I put this in there. I'm really disappointed in myself for spilling half of a 5-gallon bucket of water all over my floor. So that was fun. So when the freeze dryer is ready, I'm going to put this basil in there. I still have about an hour and a half before I can use my oven, and then it'll be too close a time for us to leave for the retirement party. So I will be back this evening when it is time to start our zucchini bread. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and get some of this zucchini, get some more zucchini shredded up. We're gonna make some zucchini bread, and then I'm probably going to put some just in the freezer because I have a lot. Excuse me. So I am going to go ahead and peel this, and we'll just give these peels to the chickens. They will be super happy. I hadn't been out in a couple of days to check the garden because it had been raining and then it was muddy, and so I knew there were going to be some, whoa, come on. I knew I was going to have some big zucchini. And I did. Except I've got dill seeds stuck to everything now. I don't want dill in my zucchini bread. Wipe this off a little bit. Whoop. All right, so the zucchini bread recipe that I'm using, let me just double check. I've got a couple in this book. This one came from my Barbara Deal. Let me see here. I think it came from my grandma's sister-in-law. I'm not sure. So we're gonna go ahead and get a bunch of zucchini shredded up. So these large zucchini, oh my gosh, it's really hard, can sometimes have big seeds in the middle. So far this one doesn't seem too bad. Well, they might be getting bigger as I go towards this end. If they're really big, I'll go ahead and, oh yeah, see this one's got some bigger seeds in it. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut that piece out, and we won't use that. I will just throw this to the chickens, and again, they will be super happy. All right, and we need 2 cups. 2 cups of shredded zucchini. All right, so I am going to shred more zucchini, but we're going to go ahead and start our bread dough going. Okay, this is a recipe. So this book is a book that I put together. All of these recipes came from my grandma on my dad's side, so my dad's mom. This was all of the recipes that she had in her little recipe book. So this is one that actually did not have any instructions other than baking. It didn't have any mixing instructions. I'm assuming everything just mixes together, so that's what we're gonna do. So we need 3 eggs. So we're gonna put our 3 eggs in here, and then we're gonna add our sugar to that. Which for our sugar we need 2 cups. So we're gonna add our 2 cups of sugar to our eggs. There we go. And I'm gonna go ahead and stir all of this together. Just make sure that our eggs and sugar are all mixed together well. And then to this, we're going to add our 2 cups of shredded zucchini. Oops. And this is a 2-cup measuring container. All right. We're going to stir this in along with 3 cups of oil. Do I have enough? I do not, but I do have some more, so that is not a problem. right. That was completely wrong. I needed 1 cup of oil, not 3. Darn it, so I just doubled that. Okay, I thought that seemed like an awful lot of oil. So I got 2 cups in there with no way to, I wonder if I can scoop one out. Let's just see. No, all right. So we're gonna double the recipe. So need to add 2 more cups of zucchini, and that's okay. We'll just put some of this bread in the freezer. All right. So there's 2 more cups of zucchini, and then we need to still add 3 more eggs and 2 more cups of sugar. Darn it. I hope my bowl is big enough. I don't think it's going to be. So this is going to become another one of those days where I dirty a million things that were unnecessary. Let's see. We're going to use this. Yeah, so I'm struggling just a little bit today.
You're doing great.
Nobody asked you, smart aleck. Alrighty, 3 more eggs. I have right here. I think that one's stick. Oh. Okay, so I put in 6 eggs, 4 cups of sugar, 4 cups of zucchini, 2 cups of oil. Okay, so now I need 6 cups of flour, but I'm gonna go ahead and stir all of this together first. Make sure that these other eggs get blended in. Thought there was something in my bowl, but it was a piece of zucchini that still had a little peel on it, so it was a dark green and it kind of freaked me out. 6 cups of flour. 1, 2. It's a good thing I buy flour in bulk. 6. Okay. Baking soda, baking powder, and cinnamon. 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Half a teaspoon of baking powder. Two teaspoons of cinnamon. Half a teaspoon of salt and 4 teaspoons of vanilla. So here's our salt and our vanilla. 1, 2, 3, 4. Vanilla smells so good. You can also add nuts to your bread if you would like. I do not like, typically I don't like nuts in my sweetbreads. I like them just plain. I know some people really enjoy putting walnuts or pecans or something in theirs. So I'm just gonna make mine plain. So now we just need to get all of this stirred in. and make sure that our ingredients are mixed well together. This is actually probably one of those recipes where we should have mixed the dry ingredients together before we added them. My mother-in-law tends to write recipes like that. She'll write the ingredients and the baking instructions. Well, sort of baking instructions, but she doesn't usually put the actual mixing instructions on there. The first time she gave me something, I was like, I feel like part of this is missing. So I had to ask her for the rest of the instructions. Okay. Get this zucchini off my little mixer here, or my little, there we go. And I was just about to say that I only had 3 baking pans, but I forgot I bought this other one. So I have 4, so that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and spray these. And we're gonna put just a little bit of flour in them. And we're just gonna, make sure that that flour, we've got a good coating on our pan. Need just a little bit more for this one. All right, let's see. Okay, I'll add just a little more to this one. Okay, so now we're just going to divide our batter between these 4 pans. And this would have been much easier to just divide into 2 pans, so we're going to give it our best shot here. All right, have just a little bit left. Let's see where it should go. I think in this pan. Looks like it needs a little more. Okay, so now for 2 of these, I am going to add a little sprinkle of chocolate chips on the top. Oh, I guess that'll be one of them. Okay. So I'm going to set these on a cookie tray just so they're a little easier to manage. All right, so now we're going to put these in the oven and we're going to cook them for 1 hour or until a knife in the center comes out clean. So I've got it preheated to 325. I'm going to get these in. And I set my timer for 1 hour. And then I'll check those and we'll see how they're doing. All right, now while this bakes, I'm gonna go back to my zucchini and I'm gonna go ahead and start shredding some more. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to measure it out in 2-cup increments and I'm gonna put it in a baggie and put in the freezer. And then that way I'll know if I want to make some more zucchini bread, I can just pull out one of these baggies and it'll be the perfect amount for making more zucchini. Oh, more zucchini bread. Oops, I put this the right direction here. All right. You would think that you would remember what's in the bag or that you'd be able to tell, and you can't always. So I always mark things because when I don't, that's when I have problems. And I am gonna go ahead and put these hold 2 cups in case I forget that that's what I did, because, you know, distinct possibility. 2 cups. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this one cut and we'll start shredding it. And we'll see how far we get. There are some bigger seeds in here, but as long as they're not gigantic, they don't usually bother me. I just don't like them when they're, you know, huge. Okay. Why it's doing that. Because it's not full. Oh my goodness.
Oh, you seem to be having so much fun.
I am having all kinds of trouble today. All right, now that I've flung zucchini all over my kitchen, which, I mean, if you guys have been watching me, you know that that is not anything unusual. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish filling this 2 cups and we'll get it in the bag, or a bag, I guess I should say. So I'm going to go ahead and zip these up, squeeze out as much air as I can, and then we're going to lay them flat. Squeeze out some more air. And then we'll freeze them like that. All right, well, I really thought that that would take up more zucchini than it did. All I've used is 2 zucchini. 2 gigantic zucchini, but still only 2. And I was so hoping that that would be a lot more. All right, well, all right, so we've got 47 minutes left on our bread. I'm gonna go ahead and put these 4 bags in my freezer, and I'm gonna have to think on some other ways to use this humongous stash of zucchini over here. The smaller ones we'll eat just cooked up with dinner in some fashion, but the bigger ones, typically you wanna do something else with the bigger ones because they can sometimes be a little tough. That's why they're good in like breads and things. So I may end up freeze drying some more. Maybe I'll just freeze dry some slices or some chunks. I'm not sure, but I'll be back when our bread's done so we can take a look at it and give it all a taste. All right, so our hour is up, so I'm gonna check these. So that one is done, and that one's done. All right, so these 3 on the top rack are done, so I'm gonna go ahead and take those out. It looks like the one on the bottom rack is not done. So I'm gonna move it. And we'll give it a few more minutes. So we'll let that other one cook another 10 minutes. It was on the bottom rack, so the heat wasn't even on it, I believe, and I think the pan on the top rack was kind of blocking some of the heat from the, I don't know, the coils or whatever. So I moved it up, put it in for another 10 minutes, and we'll see how it looks here when the timer goes off. All right, another 10 minutes is all it took to go ahead and finish getting this loaf of bread done. So we're gonna let these sit about 10 minutes or so, and then I'm going to take them out of the pan and we're gonna let them cool completely then on these racks. It smells so good. So I'm just going to run my knife along the edges of these first three that were cooling while this smaller pan finished baking. And then we're going to dump these out and set them on our cooling rack so they can finish cooling. Hopefully I can get this one out. Alrighty, there's ouchie, there's that one. We'll go ahead and let this smaller one here, we'll go ahead and let this one cool a few more minutes. Oh, I have chocolate on my pot holder now. But we'll go ahead and let this one cool a few minutes and then we'll dump it out onto the rack and let it finish cooling out of the pan. All right, let's see if this one in this smaller pan, oh yeah, this one is, ouchie. Because you know, as it cools, it kind of pulls away from the side of the pan, which makes it a lot easier to, remove. The pan is still hot though. Okay, so here we've got our 4 loaves of zucchini bread. You guys can see those. So I'm going to leave these sitting right here. We're going to let them go ahead and finish cooling completely. And then once they're completely cool, I'm going to wrap up one of the chocolate ones, one of the ones with chocolate chips, and maybe 1.5 of the regular ones, and then I'll leave the smaller chocolate chip one and the half of just a regular zucchini. I'll leave it out for Joe and I to have maybe for breakfast tomorrow. We are going to a birthday party this evening. We're having a surprise party for one of my sisters. She just thinks we're doing a sister's night out, which we do fairly regularly. We haven't actually been out now since we went to Florida in May. So she thinks it's just going to be the 4 of us girls, and it's really going to be quite a bit of our family. So I'm picking her up so she does not get there too early, and everybody else is going to be there. Our stepsister and her husband drove in from Florida, and so they're going to go early and put up some decorations, and I think they're bringing cupcakes and all that, so it's going to be super fun. So we will give these a try probably in the morning and have those for breakfast, and then I will show you guys what we think of them. So I'll be back. Okay, it's the next day, and we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna wrap up some of our zucchini bread so I can put it in the freezer, and some of it where I'm gonna leave out so that we can eat. My sister's surprise birthday party last night went perfectly. I thought she was suspicious when she and I were driving, and we got there and she was completely surprised. It was awesome. I do have just a little clip of us walking in and everybody yelling surprise, so I'll put that at the very end of this video. But we are going to wrap up our zucchini bread. So because it's just me and Joe, I am going to cut these loaves in half before I wrap them. I love zucchini bread. Okay. Which is good because we have a lot of it. So I'm going to wrap it in plastic first. And then I'm going to wrap it in foil. And then I might even put it into a Ziploc baggie. If I can get a hold of my plastic. You know how plastic wrap never sticks to itself unless you don't want it to. At least that's my experience. Alright, so we'll do that. That piece I'm going to leave out so that my husband and I can enjoy that this morning. I am going with my daughter-in-law. After a while, we're going to go shopping so that she can get some school clothes and shoes for my two grandsons. And they are at their Nana's. It's my daughter-in-law's aunt, but they spent the night there last night because she wanted to make sure she got them before school started. And so it will just be my daughter-in-law and I and the 2-year-old, so it'll make it much easier to shop without everybody. You guys, if you've got kids, you know how it is when you're trying to shop with all of them. It can be overwhelming and frustrating. Ooh, this looks so good. So this chocolate, I just put the chocolate chips on top, but what you can also do, and I didn't do this since I had so much batter that I was trying to spread out between those 4 pans, is pour half the batter into your pan, then put a thick layer of chocolate chips, and then put another layer of batter on top, and then it will melt in there and you'll have like a ribbon of chocolate in the middle. Yummy. That is really delicious. But this will be good too. Okay. So I am just going to write on here, on the side, I'm just going to put plain, and then I'll put chocolate on those other 2, so that when I pull them out of the freezer, I'll know what's what. So we're having a big birthday party for my dad next weekend. He will be 80 on Friday. And so we're having a big shindig for him at our house. So everybody's going to come over here. He's so super excited. It's adorable. I love it. I think Joe must have gone for a run this morning. He got up before I did. And the dog is very unhappy because he's not here. And he left without him. So I'm just writing chocolate chip on the top of that so that I'll know that that's the one that has chocolate chip in it. Same with this one. I think I'm going to leave this whole loaf out for us to eat. Whoops. And what this is, oh my gosh, it's a good thing nobody else has to read my handwriting because that was terrible. I'm just gonna squeeze out as much air as I can out of these bags without squishing the bread. And then these will just go in our freezer. And then when we want some zucchini bread quick, you know, for a breakfast or snack or even dessert, we can just pull it out, let it thaw, slice it up, and we'll be ready to go. Of course, I can also make fresh zucchini bread because I have a lot of zucchini sitting over here. Okay, so now I'm going to cut a slice of this and we're going to give it a try. Well, this is the chocolate chip. Oh yeah, there's some chocolate chips in here. So I'm just going to get a bite of this. And take a little bite of this piece. This is so good. I love zucchini bread. Okay. Let me think how I want to store this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut me another slice of this one that I'm going to have for breakfast. And then I'm going to put these in this bag. And I'll leave these out and then we can eat on these this weekend. And then whatever we don't eat today, I'll probably stick in the refrigerator because this will get moldy pretty quickly otherwise. Alright, so I brought up our pesto little pucks. So I'm going to label a baggie for those. I opened my freezer and it smelled so good. So these now are just frozen in these little molds. And all I'm going to do is just pop them out like this. And I'm going to put them in this baggie and then I'll put them all back in the freezer. And now I did go ahead and harvest and pull up the rest of the basil. I think I told you guys that I had another kind of basil that was out in that garden bed that I wanted to go ahead and harvest. So I harvested all of it, pulled it completely up because I used that bed. I planted some lettuce and then I planted some carrot and beet seeds. And then it stormed that night, so I don't know if the seeds washed everywhere. The lettuce starts still looked good when I went and looked at them, but I hope that it didn't wash all my seeds into one little corner. I guess we'll see when they start coming up. But where I was going with that is I have all that not garlic. I have all the rest of that basil that I harvested. It's washed and wrapped in paper towels in baggies in my refrigerator, so later today I am going to do something with that. I'll probably make some more pesto and I may freeze dry some more of it. I'm not sure yet. But we have a lot of delicious things that we can use this basil for. Alright, so there's that. Okay, so we've got this great big bag of pesto. We've got all of this zucchini bread that we can enjoy, and it's amazing. And I still have a ton of zucchini, so I will be able to, I don't know what I'm going to do. Some of the smaller ones, like I said, we'll go ahead and eat with meals, but some of these that are big, which I have a lot of them because you guys know how zucchini hides in your garden, I'll have to figure out what I want to do with. I have 2 gallons of shredded freeze-dried zucchini already, so I probably don't need any more of that. I don't know. I'll have to figure out what I want to do. Anyway, so hope you guys enjoyed this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you're not signed up for my newsletter, go down in the description box down there. It's right at the top. Just click the link. It'll take you straight to the sign up. All you have to do is put your email in, and then you'll get a weekly email from me that is just a little more behind the scenes, whatever's going on with our lives. And you can unsubscribe at any time if you change your mind. And don't forget to stick around. There's just a really little short clip of my sister's surprise last night, and so don't miss that. So I will see you guys on the next video. Thanks.
Surprise!